You already know what it is. GMOG Sports TV back with another one. So, man, Tony Harrison, champion for a year, and got stopped. Got stopped by Jermell Charlo. If you haven't checked out my initial post-fight reaction, check it out. Very short, real-time reaction of the fight. But now I got time to reflect on it. I watched a lot of post-fight interviews with Tony Harrison and Jermell Charlo and stuff like that. And how I correlate Tony Harrison's defeat to Jermell Charlo is the fact that he got too arrogant. Very similar to Andy Ruiz Jr., who got too arrogant. And there's differences and similarities, but there's differences and similarities of Andy Ruiz and Tony Harrison, but there's more similarities to how they lost. Because the bottom line is they both got too arrogant, both got too cocky, but in different ways. You see, Andy Ruiz, he got very cocky leading up to the fight. He has 6 months to prepare. 6 months to prepare. And all that time, he spent 99% of that time eating and partying. He chose tacos, he chose burritos, he chose pizza, he chose buffets, he doesn't like salads, he chose all of that, right? And partying before putting more effort in the gym to retain those titles, being the first unified Mexican heavyweight champion. All that lasted was 6 months. So he was so cocky. He said, I don't need to train hard like I did before because I'm not coming off of a fight. He was fighting Deverenchenko, I believe, before he fought AJ, right? I'm not coming off a fight. I could just chill and relax, and I'll beat him the same way as before. I'll do those behind-the-head punches, those behind-the-head hooks, right? And I'll get him right there, and I'll get him out of there. I don't need to train hard, right? So, of course, weigh in, he weighs 283 pounds, damn near his debut weight, which was 297. So he gained 15 extra pounds, a la Buster Douglas. And if you haven't checked out my pre-fight building up to the fight, I called him, is Andy Ruiz another Buster Douglas? Turns out I was right. So again, he was too arrogant, too cocky leading up to the fight. Tony Harrison is different. Tony Harrison put in a lot of work in the gym. He got out of Detroit, went to Tampa, where Keith Thurman trains. Got in Keith Thurman's gym, training his ass off, wanted to fight in the pocket, wanted to fight going forward, wanted to do different variations to get Jermell Charlo out of there, right? So he was working his butt off in the gym, right? And leading up to the fight, he was talking his trash, right? Talking his trash. Very infectious personality. People were drawn to him, including myself, the way he was talking. During the fight, Tony Harrison was actually dominating. Outside of the knockdown in round 2 and before round 11, Tony Harrison was pretty much dictating the pace of the fight. He was walking down Charlo, okay? When he was fighting in the pocket, he was able to evade and slip and block most of Jermell Charlo's punches. And as he was doing that, he was countering. He was able to go to the body. Beautiful body work starting from round 1. A lot of body work, a lot of good jabs, good counters, right? Making, Jermell miss, making Jermell lunge with, he was trying to load up on the right hand, right? Do the earlier rounds. And And round 2, he got caught. He basically got too laxed, and he got knocked down in round 2. So right there was the start of the end, because of the fact that after round 2, you know, Tony Harris was picking up the pace again, was controlling the range, controlling the distance, had better ring generalship, again, making Jermell Charlo miss, or he would miss, or punches would partially land or be blocked by Tony Harrison's gloves or shoulders. Okay, and throughout the variations of the rounds, you see Tony Harrison start feeling himself. He starts showboating, right? Start making all kinds of different moves and stuff like that, you know, in the ring. And during that time, you know, he was basically just giving the fight away. Got too cocky, got too arrogant, you know. And he, like I said in my post-fight reaction video, he was trying to out-bravado Jermell Charlo. He wanted to one-up Jermell Charlo by staying in the pocket. And you know Jermell Charlo has power. The Charlo brothers, one thing you can't deny is they got power. And I was also surprised. Now I wouldn't say surprised, but the Charlo brothers, the Charlo twins, are very durable. They can take some punches. They can take a lot of good punches. Tony Harrison was giving a lot of good body shots, a lot of flush shots to the face, to the head, and Jermell was just walking right through them. He was eating those shots, still coming forward, still trying to get him out of there. But again, Tony Harrison's arrogance got the best of him. He wanted to stay there and trade with Jermell. Stay there and in the pocket and trade. And that was not a good look after you was considerably outboxing Jermell. And the judges, when round 11 was over, after he was stopped, two out of the 3 judges had Jermell Charlo winning, which was surprising. All right, surprising. But I had Tony Harrison up by 1 round. But my point is that Tony Harrison let that fight slip away. It was his fight to win. He was up on my cards by 1 round, in my opinion. He was up on my cards. He let that fight slip away. And the only thing that costed him that fight was his own arrogance. He was too arrogant during the fight. Just like Andy Ruiz was too arrogant leading up to the fight by not training. Right? Tony Harrison was too arrogant during the fight by trying to out-bravado Jermell Charlo, trying to beat him at his own game. It didn't work. Okay? So that's the valuable lesson you learn. You know, not everybody's made to be a champion. Not everybody's made to be a champion. I can honestly say guys like Jermell Charlo, guys like Anthony Joshua, who lost and retained their titles, they are made to be champions. Right? The only difference between Andy Ruiz and Tony Harrison is this: if they rematch again, if both fighters rematch again and do a trilogy, you can't teach genetics, and that goes for Anthony Joshua. So if Anthony Joshua and Andy Ruiz fight for a 3rd time, it'll be the same result. Anthony Joshua's going to win, because you can't teach genetics. You can't teach tall. You can't teach long. You know, with the height and reach advantage of Anthony Joshua, it doesn't matter if Andy Ruiz came in his tip-top condition, which is probably 250, 255. I think the lowest he weighed was like 246. If he came at 246, he still would have lost, because, you know, for a guy like Andy Ruiz, who's a heavyweight, he only has a 74-inch reach. Tony Harrison has a 76-inch reach, and he is a 154-pounder. So you got short arms, and you're short, and you're fighting a guy who's 6'6" with an 83-inch reach. Again, you can't teach genetics. He would win again. It would be the same result. Now, as far as Tony Harrison, though, if Tony Harrison didn't clown around, didn't showboat, and didn't get too cocky and arrogant, I believe he can win a third fight. And I don't even think that Jermell would want to do a third fight. He knows that Tony Harrison is a dangerous fighter, and he wouldn't want that. When he said the post-fight interview, he's looking for bigger and better things. Yeah, and that's not including Tony Harrison as a rematch. He's not going to give him a rematch. He's not. So that won't happen. So if they fight again, Tony Harrison and Jermell, Tony Harrison does have the possibility of winning that fight. So anyway, those are my thoughts about that, family. If you're new to the channel, GMOGSportsTV, please subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff, family. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think in the comments section down below, family. Until next time, GMOGSportsTV signing out. Peace.